Welcome back everybody to the channel. It's me, Alejandro Mendoza, or the Nerdy Chicano. Either way how you say it, it's all good here. And we're back again for another video as we continue our journey through Martin Scorsese's World Cinema Project Volume 3 as we look at the fourth film in this set, Dos Monjes, a film from Mexico from the early 1930s. As always, I'd like to thank you all so much for the love and support on the videos. I hope everyone's having a good day. I hope that this video finds you well, happy, healthy, all of the above. Last week we looked at the third film in the set, Peugeot, and now we're going to be moving along with this. But of course, if you enjoy content about physical media, like these box sets from the Criterion collection, go ahead and subscribe to this channel and click that notification bell when you subscribe. It's going to make sure that you don't miss a single piece of content that drops on the channel. Plus, if you can, leave a like on this video, it would help out a lot. Also, I have a Patreon set up for anybody who wants to lend an extra helping hand, and you can find that at patreon.com/thenerdychicano, where I have early access to videos just like this one, or some wonderful exclusives like video essays, where I've made 2 by now. I'm working on my 3rd one, but if you want to go check that out, you can go check it out. You can go and pledge to a tier. If not, it's okay. I completely understand, and I am just happy that you all watch these videos and show some love. Remember, it's not mandatory. It's just there if you want to help out. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this review of Dos Monjes. So Dos Monjes comes in at spine number 1048 in the Criterion collection. It's a film from 1934 from Mexico. So it's quite the preservation that they've done on this film to make sure that they can present it to us on Blu-ray. I mean, a lot of films from this era are either really hard to find, or they just don't exist anymore, or you might also find them in pretty terrible quality. But before we get into the review, as always, we're going to go ahead and look at this introduction, talk about what is included in the Blu-ray, and then we can talk about the movie. But I'm going to go ahead and start by reading this introduction on the back, and we'll go from there. Dos Monjes, the vividly stylized, broodingly intense early Mexican sound melodrama by Juan Bustillo Oro, brings on an audacious flashback structure. When an alien monk recognizes a new brother at his cloister, he becomes deranged and attacks him. Dos Monjes recounts the men's tragic shared past, once from the point of view of each, heightening the contrast between the two accounts with visual flourishes drawn from the language of German Expressionism, including camera work by avant-garde photographer Agustin Jimenez. Included in this edition from the Criterion collection, you get a new restored 4K digital transfer overseen by the World Cinema Project in collaboration with the Cineteca di Bologna, with uncompressed 1 euro soundtrack on the Blu-ray disc. You also get a new introduction to the film by World Cinema Project founder Martin Scorsese. You also get a new interview with film scholar Charles Ramirez Berg on Dos Monjes, and a new English subtitle translation. And I already showed you all last week, but pretty much it's the front, the back, the spine, and then it's just included in this same Blu-ray disc right there. Now, I have watched films from the golden age of Mexican cinema all my life. I mean, my grandmother raised me, so whenever we were at the house, before the afternoon shows that she loved to watch, we would watch the films of Pedro Infante, Cantinflas, and all of the above. I mean, I grew up around the Mexican age. I grew up around the golden age of Mexican cinema. And it's a lot of why I'm so into early filmmaking, because I grew up around that, and it's what I was watching the most as a child. So when I first bought this set and I saw that this included a film from 1934 that was made in Mexico, I was really interested to finally crack this one open and put it into the player. And I've got to say that I'm neither impressed or disappointed by Dos Monjes. I think the movie works fine as a German expressionist and gothic Mexican film, but it never really cracks out of its shell, if you kind of catch my drift a little bit. it has trouble with the pacing. I mean, this is a movie that's an hour and 27 minutes. No, an hour and 29 minutes. No, I'm so sorry. It's an hour and 19 minutes long. Almost an hour and 21 minutes. This should not feel like a 2 hour and 35-minute film. And yet, as I watched Dos Monjes, I felt its pace just drag itself to the finish line. And when we get there, it just feels so anticlimactic. And I was drawn to the stylization, for sure. I was really digging the German Expressionist style to the film, especially because I'm a fan of German Expressionism. But I never really appreciated it more than its visual stylization. I can't say much about this story that really impressed me. I felt that it was trying to balance itself out in a script that was trying to do too much. Recounting different stories that may or may not be true about this woman, and it's really a messy film, to be honest. And yet I like it, but I also don't like it. I'm kind of torn in between the middle. And usually when I talk about, film and on the podcast, on the Nerdcore, I always say that I always hate giving out those middle scores. Because those middle scores means that the movie didn't do anything to captivate me, and it also did nothing to make me feel like I wasted my time. I just felt that the movie was just there, and it was just progressing for the sake of progressing, and there was nothing to really, chew on, compared to, films like Pijote, Lucia, and After the Curfew, that I felt that even though they were slow as well, there was still a lot to hold on to. And just Don Monjes never did that for me at all. That's not to say that I don't appreciate the work that was put into this film. You can tell that there was a lot of thought put into reaching a certain cinematic language with the film and making sure that it really portrayed a true to style gothic look that is really expressed well. And I'm sure that this movie would influence the likes of Guillermo del Toro in his career. But at least in the confines of the film that I watched, and the way that it played for me, and the way that I really digested the story, it just didn't really do anything for me. And I won't say that I hated the film, but I'm just not impressed. Now, let's talk about the restoration. So I watched this film on my 4K Panasonic player and on my TCL 4K TV, and because this is a 4K digital transfer on a Blu-ray, it will benefit from some upscaling. I watched the introduction as well from Martin Scorsese. Didn't get a chance to watch the interview, but I did watch the introduction from Scorsese and how he really talked about rediscovering this film and making sure that there was a lot to preserve out of this film. Really stood out to me. And when I read the transfer notes, it was also talking about how some of this film's audio was actually missing. Like, it was just not there anymore, probably damage done to the original print. And they also talked about how they use inner positives and other negatives to make sure that they were able to clean it out correctly and stuff. So I was really invested in just how this would look visually on my television. And I'll say, even though I don't feel strongly, positive about the film, I do feel strongly positive about its restoration. The movie looks great. I gotta say that it's not the greatest quality you're ever going to see in your life. This is a movie from 1934. In 1934, they probably did not have the best technology to really shoot this in the way that you would want it to look, like a deeply contrasted gothic look, right? So over the years, it probably lost a lot of that quality because of lack of being cleaned up. And with this restoration, it at least brings it back to some sort of like normalcy, but it's nowhere near being one of the greatest black and white restorations I've ever seen. At least when it comes to a film from 1934, I'd say that it looks really good, and how they were able to clean up the negatives and make sure that they present us a really well done restoration on a Blu-ray disc It works well. It looks great. I just was really surprised at how they were able to, you know, clean as much as it up, because I've seen films from this era. They do not look that great anymore. It is rough. You can tell that there's debris. You can tell that there is a scratching, and there's just damage done to the print. But Dos Monjes looks pretty damn good, especially the scenes at night where you can see where the sharp contrast is. The black and white levels just really stand out to me. It looks really good, and honestly, with a video restoration of a film from 1934, that's really all you can ask for, is that it looks good and it looks playable, and that's what the video restoration from Dos Monjes succeeds in. Now, the audio was also another field that I was really interested in, because the transfer notes said that there was parts in Reel 3 that were missing, and really the goal of this restoration was to make sure that there was, you know, something to include there with the audio restoration, even though they weren't going to be able to put dialogue. So I felt it was kind of weird when I got to that moment where, you know, there's no dialogue, even though they're talking. There's, you know, just music, and it's a little off, but they made it work. And this isn't the greatest audio of all time. It's not at all that good either. But when you're telling me that the goal of this audio restoration was to make sure that there was something in place for those reels that didn't have any more dialogue audio, then I think that in the confines of this film, it works for it. It still builds its atmosphere, and at least when it comes to the audio, I couldn't tell any problems, like, you know, major scratching. There is some hissing, but, you know, it's what you're gonna get with a film from 1934. It's not gonna sound amazing like a movie made in 2023, but it's still going to work with what it has been. It's still going to work with what it has, and they were able to pull out a good audio restoration out of this film. Would I recommend you buy this set only on the basis to watch this film? Not really. I think the other three are stronger. But like I said, I don't hate this movie, but I don't like it either. And I'm just kind of in the middle. I probably won't revisit this anytime soon. I would be inclined to check out more films from this director, especially from this early period of the early 1930s in Mexican cinema. But overall, I would not really recommend anybody to watch this film. I think that there's better movies in this set to check out so far. But of course, if you want to keep up to date with me on all social media, make sure you follow me at The Nerdy Chicano on Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, Serialized, Letterboxd, and TikTok. I'm the same on all of them, so just follow me and talk about movies with me. I'd love to talk to you all about them too. Check out The Nerdcore by going to our website, thenerdcore.com, or our Twitch and YouTube at The Nerdcore. We're the same thing on all of those. And just check out what we're doing. We got reviews, we got interviews, we got, you know, watch-alongs, we got commentaries, we got all these wonderful things that we do. So check it out, because it's a lot of fun. Of course, next week we're going to continue on with our journey through this box set, Martin Scorsese's World Cinema Project Volume 3, as we look at the 5th film in the set, Soleil O from Mauritania. So I'm excited to get into that. I've never seen a film from Mauritania, and I'm excited to kind of reach the end of this box set. But in the meantime, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for the love and everything. I will see you all in the next one. And of course, to my wonderful cinephiles and renowned scholars, celebrate the love of cinema today, tomorrow, and every day after. Catch you later, guys. Bye-bye.